Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. Amma ba'd. We had started Surah Al-Nur yesterday, and we'll be completing that as of today, inshallah, as well as reading Surah Al-Furqan and a little bit of Surah Al-Shu'ara. So completing about the first half of 19 as of today, inshallah. Surah Al-Nur, the reason why I didn't speak about this yesterday is because there is an incident that had occurred in the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ in the surah. It was about Aisha radiallahu anha. And in this surah, the surah was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in Madinatul Munawwara. And in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala covers many aspects of a person's life. How Allah ta'ala covers a lot of etiquettes. When you're going into someone's house, what should you do? When you're walking, how you should behave. Allah Ta'ala says that, say to the believers of the Prophet ﷺ that they should lower their gaze at all times. There's also an etiquette that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is teaching us in the surah. As well as Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala highlights the aspect of not to speak bad about someone, not to slander about someone, not to lie about someone, without you knowing anything. Many a times we make false accusations upon some people. We say things about people that they might not even have in their lives. And we keep saying it, we keep bringing it over and over just to put the other person down, just to put that other individual down. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly highlights this in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this is haram. This is forbidden in Islam. To slander about someone, to lie about someone. Anyhow, Aisha in the 6th Hijri, Aisha radiallahu anha, she was 14 years old, married to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was a battle that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to go. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took Aisha radiallahu anha with her. Anyhow, returning back from that battle, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he camped at a place before reaching Madinatul Munawwara. And while the Prophet ﷺ camped there in the night, the Prophet ﷺ said, you know what, let's head out. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she felt the need to relieve herself, so she went to use the bathroom. And in that time, when the Prophet ﷺ had given the order to leave, Aisha radiallahu anha was out. But she did not know that the caravan is leaving right now. So she goes, anyhow, she had a necklace that she was wearing, and the thread of that necklace broke and it fell out of her neck. So she lost that necklace, and it took her some time to find that. So when she found that necklace, and after using the bathroom, she came back, and she came back to the same very place where the Prophet ﷺ and all the other companions, they were camping. When she reached that place, she did not find anyone. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she stayed there calmly, because she knew the habit of the Prophet ﷺ, that if the Prophet of Allah does not find her with him or on that camel, so the Prophet ﷺ will send his companions to the previous location to check where Aisha radiallahu anha is. Now can we imagine, Aisha radiallahu anha, she is 14 years old. She is so young. And there was a Sahabi with the name of the Prophet ﷺ. His name was Safwan bin Mu'attal radiallahu anhu. So the Prophet ﷺ had told him that, you know what, when the caravan leaves, make sure you delay yourself, you come a little later, so that you can check around and see if someone lost something or if someone left something there, so you can pick it up and bring it and give it to whomever it belongs to. So Safwan bin Mu'attal radiallahu anhu, he's walking around, he's seeing, and he sees that Aisha radiallahu anha is there. And of course he recognized Aisha radiallahu anha because before the hukum of hijab, when it came, he had seen Aisha radiallahu anha. So when he sees her, he says, Inna lillah. And upon hearing this, Aisha radiallahu anha had fell asleep at the time. So she wakes up and she sees him. So Aisha radiallahu anha, she quickly covers her face. Anyhow, Safwan bin Mu'attal radiallahu anha had his camel. So he puts Aisha radiallahu anha on his camel, and he is holding the camel, of course, and he is walking in front, and he's directing the camel where to go. Walking like this, they reached to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was. An individual, a munafiq with the name of Abdullah bin Ubay, he sees this, and al-ayadu billah, slanders and he makes a lie, he makes a false accusation about Aisha radiallahu anha, that al-iyadu billah, she has committed zina. So upon hearing this, first of all, it was amongst the munafiqeen, they used to talk about it, they used to tell one another about it. Aisha radiallahu anha was totally unaware. The Prophet ﷺ was totally unaware. They reached Medina al-Munawwara. The Prophet ﷺ starts hearing these things. The Prophet ﷺ was very hurt. And even some of the Muslimin, they were indulged in this, and they were talking bad about Aisha radiallahu anha. Can we imagine? A girl who is 14 years old, you're lying about someone, you do not know what that person did. You do not even know who that person is properly. But what? You're making false accusation. You're talking bad about that someone. You're lying about that individual. You're totally ruining their entire life. To an extent where in the narration it comes that Aisha radiallahu anha, she used to weep day in and day out. Can we imagine a girl 14 years old? She used to weep day in and day out. But what? She was never despondent from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One day the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came to Aisha radiallahu anha and he asked Aisha radiallahu anha, "Oh Aisha, if you had really done something, tell me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive you. And if not, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal something for you." Aisha radiallahu anha, she kept her place. She used to weep and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, can we imagine Surah An-Nur? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals down 10 ayat for Aisha radiallahu anha, that she is free from what those munafiqeen are saying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals down 10 ayat just for Aisha radiallahu anha. And today, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amazing. We should just pick up the Quran and study the Quran. What Allah ta'ala is teaching us in this Quran. We make false accusations about people. We lie about people. And we have fun doing it also. And we post it up on social media also. We do not know what the other person is or what he's doing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to understand the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to practice upon the Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to take some lesson from this Quran. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the ability to also preach it to others, inshaAllah. Jazakumullah khairan. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah, subhanakallah, alhamdulillah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta.